people, which he says he does, in his church. And he said that. In fact, I said 2 weeks before the truck incident, it is said that he allowed people to come up to the tithing bucket or whatever and get money, grab money out.
Okay, look, listen, that's how it works.
Okay, but let me get to these comments.
If you look at Joel Osteen's background, he uses the tax shelter. I'm going to look it up, but what I'm telling you is that's what they do. They keep everything under that umbrella.
I trust you.
Verify.
I need
Trust
to
but verify.
it, okay?
Gotcha.
And Richard says, I agree with Donovan in that he didn't have to be a showboat when he gave her the car. There was no need for that. Absolutely. And I think that's really where the issue was. And then, but he's also deleted the video.
Why would you do that if you're not doing anything wrong?
Well, probably because he was getting so much.
Why would you do that if you're not doing anything wrong?
I would have preferred him leave it up.
Right. Why would you do that if you did anything wrong? Just like I always ask President Donald Trump, if you weren't aware you were doing a crime or a crime was being taken care of, why are you working so hard to cover it up?
Well, I mean, hell.
Think about it.
And then Al says, on the Power X episode where Ghost's daughter was killed, the preacher wanted the service to be televised to bring more people attention to his church. Well, yeah, we got to capitalize off of everything, right? And then Jessica says, a church is, and I'm going to emphasize, is a business.
It is. Yeah, it's a business, but it's not a business.
You see how you do, Jessica?
No, it is a business, but it's not a business. Because if it was a business, it would be paying its fair share of taxes. You can't call it a business.
Is a nonprofit organization not a business?
It is, but...
Is the church under the nonprofit organization?
It is, but... Again, separation of church and state. It's a business per se. Let's agree with that. Per se.
Okay, let me get to these comments because me and you going to fight after this.
Per se, it's a business.
Roll out the mat.
No, I don't think Al would like that. Because I'd choke you out.
I got my little pew-pew in my purse, okay? I don't need to fight with you. And let's see. And Candy says, I'm pretty sure it's going to air on the show. So, yes, for promoting, I can see why they possibly was showing out. Yeah, I mean, just use it. Like the Kardashians. Mm-hmm. Somebody made a point about the Kardashians. Let's use everything we're going through, to capitalize on it. Alex says he should have known that black stereotype would have followed that expensive purchase. Mm-hmm. And a pastor is a pimp because he's selling something that is free. Mm-hmm. You know what, Alex? You are so wise to be such a young man because my dad always says that. Pastors sell positive energy. Right, it's all about the prosperity ministry. And Chris, she says, a nice luxury truck is going to run $60,000 to $70,000. I'll give him $65,000. Whatever he can get for $65,000. But anything over that is excessive. You can't find an SUV more expensive than the Lamborghini. You said you can't find an SUV more expensive than the Lamborghini. Let's see. I have an issue with him amassing that kind of wealth by being the leader of a church. He is literally making money off the backs of his congregation, and that is completely inappropriate and unacceptable. Well, I concede that point, but some people will say, well, he's got an audience on OWN. Oprah's huge, and so maybe he's getting money from that. Maybe it's not just the congregation that's buying books. And again, I'm not trying to defend him, but I'm just trying to make sense of why he can't buy his wife that kind of a car if indeed that is coming from his pocket. But I agree. I mean, just from a cosmetic point of view, it's like that looks bad, And Al says, who cares about Michael Jordan? He left Juanita for ugly, a white woman. I'm getting my black power shit on today. You go, boy. Candy says, Joel don't have a reality show though. He has been on the OWN network having his own show. So I don't know if he has a reality show, but he has been on the OWN network with his own show. And Tay says, I guess I hold pastors to a higher standard, which you should, because that Bible tells you to a higher standard than I would a sports figure or actor. The pastor should reflect his congregation and not flaunt wealth and opulence. That's vanity. I agree with that. Hey, Nancy, she says also to hit the link if you want to comment. And Al says, Jabba the Hutt never should have bragged about the shit. You calling that man Jabba the Hutt, really? That's awful. And Tay says, what made it worse is that the wife had the audacity to clap back on social media. Yeah, that right there, because I read that earlier, that she did clap back, basically saying it's a husband buying his wife a truck, blah, blah, blah. He works hard and all. That was a bit much because it's almost like saying, I'm not saying you should be sorry that your husband bought you the truck, but you should be contrite that it came off bad. And some people were offended. Like, I mean, you're not going to please everybody, but
And she doesn't have sense enough to say, honey, this is a bit much.
Or we don't have to advertise you doing that. Because I would have said, honey, it's nice, but everybody don't need to know you did this because I can foresee what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. We're going to be walking this back for a week or two. And so, hey, Thomas, hello. And Al says, no more comments. We can just sit here and watch y'all debate for the next hour. No, I don't want to do that. And Chris says, Demetria, how does he separate the money he makes from the church and the money he makes from the books?
Exactly. That's the scam.
Wait, hold on.
That's the scam.
Which he got and wrote based on his connection with the church. I contend that it is commingled money and income and cannot be separated, sort of fruit from the forbidden tree, if you will.
Right.
I mean, I get that. Listen, I just want to know how they can admit, like with Pastor John Gray, he's worth $7 million. Somewhere that money is getting taxed. He can't hide his personal business within.
Just because he says he's worth the $7 million.
Okay, but obviously the government is going to verify that is what you're making, and they're going to tax that. I mean, because exactly. So, and we know that a lot of these pastors in these mega churches, they make a lot of money. I mean,
and they hide a lot of their money.
Some of them have. I did a research on a pastor somewhere in North Carolina. I don't know what's wrong in North Carolina, but this pastor, the white dude, had this house is so humongous. It's just him, his wife, and two.
Did you see
kids.
Joel Osteen's mansion that he could have housed those flood victims?
The point is, he also said, "Oh, well, this money is separate from the church. This is money that I earned from speaking and all this other stuff." And
then when you do an audit, you find out that that's not true.
And then Al says these black preachers always talk more about prosperity than compassion. Well, that's what it is. It's prosperity preaching now. Yeah. But it's like, okay, you're talking about prosperity. Y'all got it when we gonna get it, you know? Mm-hmm. And then Marcus says, well, you did leave it at one thing. They do have that annual pastor anniversary where they give the pastor all the money for being the pastor, period. And everybody gets dressed up to celebrate the pastor getting more money. A lot of churches will do it once a month where they have what they call a love offering, where they sow a seed of love to the pastor and his wife every month. So if there's the love offering and then, like I said, the annual celebration, I mean, I'm just asking what else is needed, you know, just me asking. And Tay says Joel Osteen was producing his own reality show in 2011. So yeah, he did have one. He also say with the dude that created Survivor, it was going to be at behind the scenes of Lakewood Church. Okay. And then Dwight, hey, he said Donovan is 100% right. Clergy should not do that. And I think you're saying mix the money together. Yes. I think that's what I'm saying.
That's how they get away with it. It's a catch-22 in the tax shelter scam. They intermingle their money, and the government can't decipher what's what. Because remember that there's a video on YouTube. Remember that pastor, and they were asking him, "What about the mink coat?
Oh,
what about this?"
The bald headed.
Yeah, and he was like, "Huh?
Or
what?"
He had a $600,000 clothing allowance a month or something.
That was a gift. That was this.
I actually taught a lecture on that once.
Right. Yeah. See, so that's how they do it.
And then let's see. And Al says, you know how it is in the black church. No matter people do just what they do, just pray for him. Oh, I get what you're saying. Mm-hmm. We make excuses. Doesn't matter what he does. Let's just go ahead and pray for them. Somebody's calling me.
That's Al.
It's my sister-in-law. I rejected her call. Okay, and then so the wife says separate church and state. It is allowed in our Constitution. Yeah. But I'm saying if you're a pastor and you're professing that, oh, this money didn't come from the church. I make all this money.
Yeah, not true.
From my speaking gigs, I'm sure the government is like, yeah, let us see that tax return.
Right, exactly.
From those gigs.
And this is what I'm saying. I'm not mad at him. Who wouldn't use that as a tax shelter? I know I would.
Right.
I'd intermingle my finances with the church to where it can't be tracked.
Right.
Didn't Donald Trump say that? Because I'm smart. Well, I don't pay taxes because I'm smart.
Trying to do away with that aspect as regarding the church and their income. And I hope I'm saying this right. Delicia, did I say that right? He says, laugh out loud. One thing that wifey won't be walking back is that car. Laugh out loud. She's holding on to that. That's why she clapped back. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Now we know she ain't gonna take the car back. Lamborghini. It was a nice ride, but people are mad. Yeah, I mean. I think she should have just, you know.
Well, the sad thing is
she should have just kept that to herself.
Yeah, the sad thing is that they're just doing it right in our faces. I mean, we are on the precipice of another recession. How are you going to justify that to your congregation?
I don't know. And then Lydia, he says, another church ratchet gossiping about people as usual. Also, he says, I can smell the ratchet pride coming from her. And I'm assuming you're talking about Aventur. I think that's her name, Aventur Gray. That to me, that was just a bad look. Like, why you... Like, just sometimes you just got to be humble and say, I understand. I understand why people are mad. Mm-hmm. My husband gave me this elaborate truck in front of everybody, and people are mad, and rightfully so to some degree. But let me just be quiet. I don't need to rub salt into the wound. Like, take that. And at the end, she says, and now back to my regularly scheduled grocery shopping trip.
Ghetto. But a good example, it's like Oprah. Do you want to know why she gave gifts out on her show? You want to know why?
Oh, yeah, it's a tax break.
It's a tax write-off.
We know that.
But look at the goodwill for her doing that.
Well, again, they say, they being his wife and other people say that he is philanthropic and that he gives back.
But you can't give money that is in the group that's under the church. You can't just give money out like that.
Well, I would rather you do that opposed to taking it and tricking it off to yourself.
Right, true.
And then Dwight says Donald Trump is a businessman. He's
failed businessman.
Allowed to gain profit. Don't get Donovan started on
failed
Donald
businessman.
Trump. And Al says maybe because black preachers and Christianity is BS, which is probably why there are no more reality preacher shows. Thank God. I mean, not yet. You know, you probably spoke too soon. And Lydia says, know about you. Oh, well, Lydia says that she called me a gossiping ratchet about church. Well, I will say this to you, Lydia, because I normally don't like to entertain the trolls, but for one thing, I don't even go to church, but I'll tell you one thing. I got 2 degrees from a Christian college, a bachelor's and a master's. Plus, I have spent a copious amount of time in the Nation of Islam and a copious amount of time in the Christian church. So if anybody can say anything about church, it's probably me. And so before you come on here calling people names, I suggest you get a little bit more information. And that is the last time I will address you and your low self-esteem. Now, if you want to come on here and have an intelligent dialogue, I am going to do that with you, but if you're not, then tell your ass.
There it is.
And then let's see, Dwight says Donovan Strong. We're still waiting for him to come up with an interview, and Dwight also
I have the interview.
Okay, hold on a second. And then Dwight says Oprah is a great woman. I like Oprah.
Yeah, I like her.
I don't have it.
But nobody gives up their Bill Cosby. They don't give up their money because they want to. The government's going to take it. And it is, again...
some people do give...
and that's true. Right. Very true. But, again, if I was a 503c under the church, which is a catch-22, I would intermingle my money. And that's what I'm saying. If he's going to intermingle his money, I would not be buying $200,000 trucks when it's part of the community's money.
Right. And then Al says, good news, Donovan. Someone we know had a new addition to their family and thankfully didn't give the baby some stupid ghetto name. Khalid had their baby.
Oh, they did?
That's
congratulations. All right.
Very cute. Named Lily. She's very cute.
Oh, got a girl. Oh, Lord was not kind to him.
She's cute. Really small, but she's cute. And Dwight says, not yet. And Dwight says, you are perfect. I'm not sure who you're referring to, but...
Me. That was me.
Referring to Donovan, you're perfect.
Yeah, that was me.
He knows that he's perfect. So I don't see any more comments. But yeah, I just think, honestly, and this is the point of the show. If you guys have any questions or concerns that you want to address, please feel free to comment and we'll answer those questions. And so... you also say, Dwight, billions are allowed to do that. Billions are allowed to do that. Bill Cosby was a philanthropist, and that he was.
Yes, he was.
I don't care what nobody says about Bill Cosby. That man gave away, they said, to the tune of, I don't know, millions. I can't count, like 50, 60, like millions of dollars. He gave away, obviously, for scholarships and all that stuff.
Don't get me wrong. A small part of that was a tax write-off.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. So,
you know what I'm saying? Of course.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between a business person and a church tax shelter.
Right.
And that's what a lot of these preachers use the church for.
And Delicia, you says, Donovan, that's exactly the point. These new age pastors don't care. They aren't interested in what people think. They are doing them. People here in Baltimore are upset about Jamal Bryant. It's funny, me and somebody else was talking about that earlier, about Jamal Bryant leaving to go to Atlanta, but that is his doing. He wants that Eddie Long congregation money. Bye, Baltimore.
Exactly.
Yeah, and to your point, Jamal Bryant has been caught up in a lot of, scandal and, just a whole
controversy
host of
sells. Yeah.
Right, but people are still riding with him, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but to her point, I mean, he's going where the money is.
Exactly. For those that are interested, there was an article in the Houston Chronicle, the very hometown church that Joel Osteen's church is. It's called The Preacher's Son. You can look it up on YouTube. It was given out May 31st, 2018, so this year.
And who's this?
This is the Houston Chronicle.
Oh, okay, got it.
It's called The Preacher's Son, and it's Joel Osteen
right.
and the making of a mega church. And it tells you exactly how he made his money.
And like I said, he has, co-opted, I guess you will, with Oprah and the OWN network and stuff like that. So, I mean, he has done a whole bunch of television stuff. And let's see. And the wife says, the later response from Lydia, "Oh, you are perfect." Oh, well, thank you. I
think that was meant for me.
Oh, you think she calling you the ratchet? Donovan can be a ratchet sometimes. I appreciate that. And Marcus says, and we can't equate the church with Michael Jordan or Oprah Winfrey, period. Michael Jordan made a living off of basketball with his feet and his hands.
Exactly.
And Oprah made a living off of conversation with her mouth and a microphone. The church was not designed to do either for the pastor, plain and simple. And so if I understand you guys right, you guys are pretty much saying that if you go into that field as a pastor,
it's not to make money.
Yeah, you should be humble.
Yes.
You should be humble. Because, like I said, I lectured on this once before, the church. There used to be a time when the church parsonage, which is where the pastor lived, was right next door to the church. And that was if, somebody needed help. Immediately, you didn't have to drive off into the hills. And as you said, Summers and the armor bearer to try to reach these people. Right. They lived humbly. Yeah. And, they also had jobs. To help sustain the windfall, if you will. And Al says, "Hey, Lydia, don't be mad because you gave your money to the black church and then got screwed all at the same time."
Wow. Adult conversation here. We're having adult conversation.
I mean, I don't know what Lydia's malfunction is. It's always going to be one, right? But again, and I'm going to assume that Lydia is a church.
She's probably
she probably goes to the church. But this is the other thing. And I say this a lot. You will always, and my brother who goes to church, he's a heathen to me, but he goes to church.
Who, Smitty?
No, Walter.
Oh, Walter, okay.
Walter says this. He said he's heard this, and I've lived by this. He says a lot of people don't go to church for two reasons. Or they don't go to church, or they're not a Christian for two reasons. One is because they know a Christian, probably like Lydia, and the other is because they don't know a Christian who was actually walking the word. And so if Lydia is one of those people who go to church, why would you come on here and be offensive? Does the Bible ask you not to offend? Does the Bible also ask you to? What is? I mean, I'm just saying. What is it? What does the Bible say? Above all else, the most important thing is what? Love.
Love.
And so when you come on my show or anybody's show and call people names like a ratchet, I mean, hell, sometimes it can be. I'm not saying I'm not. But when you come on somebody's show and call them a name, that's not operating from love. But then out of your same mouth, what the Lord asks you not to do is to be, the Lord says, do not be lukewarm because I will spit you out of my mouth like vomit. And so when you come on here and out of your mouth, profess to be a Christian and then do things of the devil, you are lukewarm, and the Lord warns you against being lukewarm. And so, Lydia, when you come on here, I'm not sure if you're still watching.
No, she probably gone.
But when you come on here and do that, you are not a testimony of what a Christian should be. And I'm not one, and I know more than you.
Wait, stop right there. Do you hear the crickets?
I mean,
that's Lydia.
Saying,
that's Lydia. No, that's Lydia.
But I'm saying, but those would be the ones who will get on Facebook all day long and they'll post scriptures all day long with the Lord this and y'all need to.
She dancing at the nasty kitty.
You know what? I didn't say Lydia was dancing at the nasty kitty. You did.
You're right.
But I'm saying those would be the ones that admonish everybody else for not walking in the Lord. And then it's like, we'll watch what you do.
But didn't Jesus Christ himself say that these pastors will be held accountable?
Pastors and people such as, I'm assuming Lydia, it goes to church. She's a parishioner to some degree. But those people will be held to a higher standard because it is up. Like, what if Lydia? What if I was thinking about going back to church and right at that very moment, you swayed me from wanting to partake because I'm like, well, gosh, if that's how Christians act, I don't want to be a part of that. Mm-hmm. What if?
Exactly.
So we're going to leave Lydia alone. I just wanted to give her that because whatever church she's going to, they're obviously not teaching her the word. They're teaching her to be mean and catty.
No, they're teaching her what most black churches and churches are teaching people. Give up your money. Don't worry about anything else. Just give up your money.
Oh, got it.
Just give up your money. That's what they're teaching.
And let's see. And the White says church is good for people that believe in that ideology. And there's nothing wrong in having a good belief system and believing in something good. But God says, be doers of the word, not just hearers of the word. So if God is asking you to be good and do good things, do that. Don't just be in church every Sunday with your nice outfit on, fan, and then you get out of the church and call people names. You know.
I got a question.
Wait, hold on a second. And I click the link, you guys, if you want to comment on the show. Go ahead.
Here's my question. And this is for anybody out there listening. If you ever invested in something, if you invest, aren't you supposed to check on your investment every now and then to make sure it's growing and stuff like that? So if a pastor is spending money like that, do I not have a right to question where that money's coming from and why is he spending what he has?
But a lot of times people are scared. Oh my God, lightning's going to strike me if I ask the Lord, the pastor, where my money is going. Right. Okay. And Delicia says exactly, hypocritical thinking. Yeah. And then Marcus says, I disagree with Dwight. The church is not good for people who believe in this ideology, period. In fact, the church is a hindrance to black people right now because it teaches you to pray. It teaches you to pray for the prayers that God has already answered, period, instead of using the tools that God gave you to help yourself. And I would agree with that as well. Mm-hmm. I think for a lot of people, they need something to believe in. But as the late, great, not Yo Ike, but Reverend Ike.
Ike from the 70s, yes.
Reverend Ike said, how are you going to believe in a God in the sky and you don't even believe in yourself? How you going to believe in somebody you've never seen, but you don't believe in yourself? That's an oxymoron. And for those of you who follow the Bible, it says that you are like God. So that makes you a what? A God. So Kay says, check her profile. She's in a group dedicated to Cardi B and Nicki Minaj.
Oh, wow.
Enough said. And Jack joking today, what do you call it when two coconuts get in a car accident? Pina colada. And Dwight says, Marcus, you are right. I just see it that way.
Yeah.
You also say, Dwight, yes, you are right. He is a vessel. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And Al says, why do Christians always tell people like me who was not, you're going to hell and go to church and give the Lord some of your time? Because that's what they've been taught. I know, especially Al, he hates when I say this. He hates the saying, when you know better, you do better. Mm-hmm. But it's true. As I was studying, somebody must be trying to call me or something. As I was studying church and the Bible and things like that, and just other things, because I study outside of the Bible too, is a book I read called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Mm-hmm. Outwitting the Devil. You guys can watch that book. Am I freezing up a little bit here? You guys can watch that. You can listen to the audio book on YouTube called Outwitting the Devil. It's kind of long, but it talks about, it's my sister-in-law. She's desperately trying to get a hold of me. But it's in one part of the book, it says you can't operate out of fear and faith at the same time. It's hard to do.
Correct.
So when you go to church tells you to exercise what? Or operate out of what? Faith. Tells you to operate out of faith, but what is it constantly doing when you're sitting there? If you don't do this, it's instilling fear. Mm-hmm. You're going to hell if you don't come to church. You're going to hell if you don't.
If you don't come out with 20s.
You know what?
We want the kind that folds, not the kind that rolls. Okay?
So the church teaches faith and fear. And they teach that to children. And we as parents too, we teach that to our children from a very young age. And so when we get to become adults, we're confused. Because part of me wants to have faith, but I can't because I've been having fear instilled in me the whole time I've been sitting there. And I'm not doing stuff in the church because I want to necessarily. I'm doing it because if I don't, something's going to happen to me. Because that's when it was been taught to me. Be obedient. If you don't
ask questions.
Right, then something's going to. So you can't do both. You can't operate out of fear and faith. You have to exercise one thing. And so to Al's point, people have constantly told him that he's going. A lot of us have heard that. You're going to hell. You need to give the Lord your time. Well, do I need to give the Lord my time in front of you? Can I do that at home? As most Christians will say, I have a prayer closet. Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to maybe not literally a prayer closet, but you have supposed to go to a place and spend some time with the Lord. The Bible also tells you guys, or tells us, if you read it, to pray without ceasing, which means to pray all the time. And it also says that I'm supposed to have a relationship with God. It doesn't say that it's your business of what relationship I have with God. And so for people to tell you that, the Bible also, see, now y'all got me preaching.
I know. I was about to go there and say, oh, wow.
But I'm saying it also says to worry about the splinter in your eye. I mean, the log in your eye and not the splinter in mine. So basically, as it says in 1 Thessalonians 4:11, study to be quiet. Mind your business and work with your hands as you've been instructed to do. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about my walk with God. Worry about what your walk with God. So anybody who's telling you that, Al, you're going to hell and all this other stuff, tell them to worry about the log in their eye. No,
what you need to tell them is, I'm going to hell and all my friends are going to be there.
Right. I hope to see you there.
Right. All my friends are going
to know what's happening. He says, blacks will continue to hope and pray and follow and continue to die, suffer, and commit genocide as long as they choose to follow a religion that was based on the blood of others.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I hate to say it, and like I said, I spent a lot of time in church, but I really believe to some degree, in a large degree, Christianity has hindered black people because it is not our natural religion. It's not our natural religion for one, but we have been taught to let go and let God. Jesus,
no matter how much hell you take here, when you get to heaven, I got a question for you.
But I'm saying, but it also to some degree absolves us of doing the work.
I got a question for you. How do you know by the time we get to heaven, we might be slaves up there? Do you know that God has, no, seriously, God has angels that all they do all day is worshiping.
So and bow to him. If you go, you make it, you definitely going to be an angel, a slave angel. You definitely going to be one. You're going to be raking the coals.
Hey, and I'll do it happily for the Lord.
Who's texting me? And then Al says, ask D&D.
Ask D&D. Let's get
it. Okay, somebody text me a message. I told these broads to stop texting me.
You are very popular today.
And Al says, as D&D, is David Pecker and Anthony Weiner related? How the hell am I supposed to?
He's making a correlation, Pecker and Weiner.
I get it. I'm trying to ignore Al. But, so I don't see any more comments. So you guys, if you want to talk about something that's a little bit off the topic here, we can.
I have a question.
Okay, let me get this last one. To get them off my back, I let them believe I'm an atheist. Lord, that's a whole other topic.
Yeah, whole nother story.
You tell somebody you don't believe in God. I mean, you don't go to church, but he's an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe in God. You know how many times I've had people ask me that when I say that I don't go to church? Well, what, you don't believe in God? Are you an atheist? Okay, hold on a second.
Do you guys want to hear
one second,
an enigma?
Go ahead, Donovan.
Yeah, you guys want to hear an enigma? World War I, World War II, people are killing each other, and it was Christians killing Christians. How much of an enigma is that?
Hold on 1 second. Ask that again.
World War I, World War II, and all these wars, Christians killing Christians. How much of an enigma is that? Both sides are Christians. Every military has a chaplain in it, and they're both saying, God bless you, go out there and kill the enemy. And we're killing each other.
Right.
So religion is
okay, so hopefully they'll stop texting me.
It's a far-fetched thing.
And he says, so hey, Brian, what's happening? He
what
says,
about my question?
Okay, ask me your question again.
Okay, my question is, do you think that the Offset Cardi B thing, him coming out, was that a setup or was that real? What is your opinion on that? Now that we've got your attention.
I mean, I don't... That Cardi B and Offset.
Who cares?
Cardi B and Offset. I don't really have an opinion on Cardi B and Offset. I've asked these people to stop texting me because my phone is freezing, and they keep texting me.
Mm-hmm. But my question was to get people's attention. It's like, who really cares? Who really cares about that? So
I told them to please stop. Okay, so I mean, I don't know. Cardi B and
who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? And then so Demir, I hope I said that, Demire rather. He says, how do you believe in a concept that was forced on our people? Well, I mean, I didn't necessarily say I believe that. I'm just saying that I've spent a lot of time in church, and so I understand it. And that's the thing too. A lot of us won't understand something, even something that we don't agree with. We won't take the time to understand it. If you don't understand it, how can you refute it?
Right.
How can you refute something you do not understand? That's hard to do.
Right.
Otherwise, you just be having a lot of back and forth. Yes, I am. No, I don't. Yes, I am. No, I don't. Well, you know, as my father always says, people, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And so, I mean, to me, that's really the long and short of it.
Well, you know, it's kind of funny that you bring that up because a lot of people will say, like, well, I can't join no white man's military, right? And they'll say, why would you join that? Well, number one, I was born into it. Number two, you know, it has some benefits for it now. Number three, now that I'm retired, they're giving me a whole boatload of money.
Right.
So, you know, because I know about it. If you don't know about it, and Uncle Otis from Vietnam is telling you, oh, yeah, they screwed me over, you're getting, you know, false information. So you're only getting information that you know.
Right. Okay. And so Al says, give us a financial tip when it comes to taking a vacation. And that's something that I actually haven't taken in a long time. Was a vacation.
That's true. You haven't gone on vacation in like 4 years.
Make sure it's a vacation that you can afford and that you're not going to come back and stress about the vacation that you paid for.
Right. Well, I got a even better tip because, you know, I'm a traveled person. I'm very seasoned. Stop going to places that you can see right here in your own neighborhood. Going to the Caribbean is not a vacation. Go someplace where you can learn how other people are doing, and it's a different culture, so you can learn something.
Well, I mean, to some people, they haven't been anywhere, so going to the Caribbean is something.
Well, yeah, no, I understand, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to go on vacation, go somewhere where you can learn something totally different.
Right, and then let's see. Brian, you said, I believe there's an emerging demographic of people who are not attending church, me being one of them. No, there's a lot of people who are just abstaining from church because they're like, why go? I'm giving all this money to the church and I'm not seeing anything
in return.
And I will say this to you guys, and I'm not trying to put nobody's church on blast, but I've been to churches where there's more drama in the church than there is probably at any nightclub or any social media Facebook group. There's so much drama, cattiness, just the most in there. Well, the environment is so toxic.
Yes, I'm going to say this, though. The Catholic Church got all the churches beat because it's football season and 45 minutes and we are out of there. Jesus was wonderful. Bye. See you next week. We're done.
Hide your little boys.
Well, we got a few problems.
And then you also say, Brian, I can, let's see, something $35,000 to $40,000. I can spend $35,000 to $40,000 on a car, but a $200,000 Lambo, that's excessive. Well,
I mean, think about it. If he would have got his wife, let's say a Mercedes, I don't think I would have a problem with that.
Right. And then the Meyer, I hope I'm saying it right, says, I'm from a Baptist upbringing and my mother's a minister. Okay. Yeah. So I'm from...
I don't believe in women leadership.
I have the two worlds. I was born into the Nation of Islam. When my father and my mother divorced, I became a Christian roughly around the age of 10-ish or so. I'm no longer either, but I understand both.
Right.
And so Alex says, it must be some church people texting you, right? The devil is busy. I rebuke it.
Yeah. Personally, for myself, I don't attend any church that has woman leadership. I just don't.
And Donovan doesn't believe in woman leadership in the church.
In the church. I'm not saying women want to go to churches that have women pastors. That's great. I'm talking about as a man, I can't go to that church.
Right. Okay.
Personally.
All right. Well, that's Donovan. Yeah. So I don't see. And then and Brian says, right, and Demaya says the church building fund. Yeah. You have the church building fund, the love offering, you have tithes and offerings every Sunday. What else is it? The
benevolent fund.
The benevolent fund as a whole, which is always, for whatever reason, empty.
Yes.
Sister so-and-so, we would love to help you with your light bill, but right now, the benevolent fund is running a little low.
Running a little low there.
Right. And so plus, the copious amount of Sunday dinners that are sold. And so, it does make you wonder,
where's the money going?
Where's the money going if we're continuously tithing, and a lot of people who go to church have good jobs, and so if you're tithing 10% of your income, let's say you're making $10,000, hell, that's $1,000 just right off the rip that you're supposed to be giving to the church in addition to offerings. The offerings is something like a sacrifice. I'm giving something other than my tithes that I'm supposed to give.
Right.
So if I'm doing that, I'm like, well, where is the money going? Why are we getting the lights shut off?
Well, ask yourself this. If your pastor doesn't even live in the neighborhood where the church is, that tells you a lot right there.
Right. And then so Allie says, I'm watching, here we go again, the Rams home game, and y'all must be paying your tithes with her weather in California is perfect. Yes, the weather is nice here. It's about 75 degrees. Yeah. And Marcus says, what real purpose does the black serve in the black serve in the African American community right now? Okay, what is the benefit? So you're saying that the black church serves? Well, I mean, I'm assuming
at this point, none.
I mean, on the premise it's supposed to be helping people spiritually. That's on the premise.
They're not even doing that.
You know, become a better servant of Christ and that kind of stuff. But I mean, a lot of people who are coming out of the black church, they don't. I mean, especially since we're talking about, in most churches are talking about prosperity.
Prosperity preaching.
Preaching. Well, why haven't I seen the trickle down? Because to me, I feel like if we're all giving this money, how about we share the wealth?
Well, for those that don't know, trickle down economics does work. I know we've tried it for the last 40 years. Under the Reagan was one to do it. The problem with trickle down economics is once the rich people get it,
that's what I'm saying. They
won't bring it down. That's the problem.
And then Damari says all church is a hustle.
Yes.
Well, some would agree with you, and I wouldn't say all church.
I would say now it is more
except for Donovan's Catholic Church.
That's a hustle too. Like I said, that's the only church that's recognized by governments.
And then Marcus says, what real people does the church serve in the black community right now? Does it benefit us or does it hurt? Or does it hurt us in the advancement of black people? Well, I would, if I had to just say right now, I would say that it's hurt us because it robs us of our own abilities to go out there and do for self.
Disarms us.
I just couldn't be Sister So-and-so in the church who was catching the bus. Because y'all remember back in the day, churches would have a bus that would come through the neighborhood and pick people up. Some of them still do, but overall they would do that. But Sister So-and-so is catching the bus.
But you want to know why they stopped that?
Why?
When Johnson signed that act to give Section 8, things like that? No, that's one of the reasons, because people weren't working. There was no incentive to work. They were giving them vouchers. But I'm saying, what they got to do with the bus coming to the neighborhood, picking up people? Because people weren't working. There was nowhere to go.
I'm going to church on Sunday. Can you come get me like you used to do?
Yeah, no, they stopped all that.
Oh. And then, let's see. Houston says, I hate to say, I see why we were slaves for hundreds of years. We as a race continue to be gullible cowards, only a threat to our own kind and poisonous to the structure of the revolution. Yeah, I mean, and you think about that too. In the large scheme of black churches, how many of those black churches in leadership spend time in what you call the revolution or trying to help liberate black people? Yeah, because I can understand, all right, yeah, we want to liberate black people from the devil, but what about liberating black people from the devil?
Right.
Oppression. What are you doing in that? Let me get this camera. Timothy says, no one is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. Nobody is going to teach you your true history, teach you your true heroes. If they know that knowledge will help set you free, you must do it yourself. Absolutely. It's not going to be given to you. Some of it will, but even that knowledge, you got to research yourself.
Right. My question is this. Why is it that every time a pastor gives you his background, he's either a street urchin? He basically took a street hustle and crossed it over into something legal, in a legal aspect. I'm not saying all of them, but I have yet to run across a pastor that said I was a millionaire, billionaire, and I gave it up.
I just wanted to do this as my calling.
Yeah, I have yet to run across. Well, Pastor Don is kind of on that bridge. He was brought down a little bit, but I don't go to his church. But what I'm saying is, as a member, I've never seen that.
So that's what he told you.
No. I did some research on that. He lost a lot.
Al says, when God said, "Let there be light," does that mean he doesn't like dark-skinned people? You know what? You was just ignorant. So anyway, any more questions?
Answer that question.
Answer the Cardi B question?
Yeah.
What do I think about Cardi B and Offset? Well, I mean, the people want to know. I think if Offset has spent time cheating on Cardi B, which it sounds like he has, and now he's contrite and sorry, for lack of better words, that he messed up her life and did her dirty. I think it's jacked up on his behalf that he has done this to her, and she knew who he was before they got married. But he knew he wasn't genuine when he hopped over the broom with this girl. And so you continue to cheat on her and do all this other stuff. And now, because there's a saying the old people say, you never miss your water until it's gone. Well, now that his water is gone, now he's sorry. He's busting on stages and going on Instagram, making all these notes. But it's like, you know what? That's out of the player's handbook. Yeah, let me get her back. And
I'll screw over again.
Yeah, let me make her believe I'm going to be nice to her and be good to her. And then I just go back to what I was doing. I say, if I had to give advice to Cardi B, let that just be your daughter's father and go live your life.
You can't turn a hoe into a housewife.
And then Timothy, I'm with you. He says, nothing, who cares?
Right.
Okay. And then Usino says, we as blacks will continue to be forced on the good ship Jesus. Yeah. Which was said to be one of the slave ships the first slave ship, if I'm not mistaken, to bring us over here through the Middle Passage. And so, to Houston's point, we will continuously be on that ship.
Yeah.
And let's see. And Tay says, oh, please, he's full of S. Cheating is a choice. He wasn't forced. No, absolutely. He wasn't forced. And so, and Timothy's conceding the point. Good ship, Jesus, indeed. And so, we are right at 4:30. And so I will, and then Demaya says, on that subject, we teach people how to treat us. She knew him for who he was. Why complain after the fact? No, I totally agree with you on that. She already knew who he was. And so now, fat meat is greasy. You're surprised. So that's all I really have to say about that. Those are rich people's problems. They got money. They going to be all right.
I don't think they're rich.
I'm more concerned about Leroy and Betty Joe down the street,
Can't get lights or not. Lights Christmas is short.
And all that other stuff. Cardi B and them going to be all right. She can go make her a man if she want to. So, but anyway, I don't see any more of you guys' comments. As always, I thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Donovan Sadiq for making this all happen. Also, a big, huge thank you to Marcus Guyton for spreading the message so that we can have this dialogue with you and just try to understand how we can become better. As always, too, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please inbox me or send me a message, Donovan a message, Marcus a message even.
Next week's Christmas, right?
Next week is the week before Christmas. So the 23rd. I don't see why unless you're busy.
No, we're not busy.
We won't be here. I don't celebrate Christmas, so
I don't either.
You lying? I'm just playing. You got 20 Christmas trees up in the house. So if you guys want to talk about something, and then Timothy in closing, you says exactly. So if that was the first ship, why are we still following Christianity or Islam? Well, those are good questions. Why? And
because we have leaders that don't want to lead. They rather enrich themselves.
Well, we got to find out stuff for ourselves too, right?
Sure.
And so I will see you guys next week. Have a great rest of the week, a productive rest of the week. And yeah, peace. Somebody else.